Oh wow, I actually fell asleep and now I'm a little bit late to record this video. If I sound a little bit sleepy, it's because I am, so I suppose let's get started and talk about this week's patch notes. I'm going to begin first with the two announcements that didn't make it into the patch notes, and the first one is the global costume design contest. Basically, you can pretty much expect what this is all about. If you have any talent for actually designing costumes, you might want to give this contest a try, because the rewards are well worth the time invested if you actually think you can win. So yeah, read the contest if you are interested. For most of us who don't participate, it's just going to be a wait to expect some interesting costumes, while if you do want to participate, here is the page. Anyway, moving on, we have the second announcement, which is the creators program, I suppose. In my opinion, or at least for myself, this is the most interesting part of this week's patch notes, because I myself, as you can see, I am a content creator, and this game finally is doing something to at least support its creators. I mean, I was hoping for this to happen someday, because I know that there are other games who do similar things for their content creators, and it's nice to see Black Desert taking the same steps to basically ensure that they will have content creators in the future. At the moment, as a first release, this program doesn't seem to be perfect at all. In fact, I don't even know what was in their head when they made 30,000 subscribers for YouTube as the entry threshold, because as far as I know, there are no Black Desert YouTubers who actually come anywhere near 30,000 subscribers. And also on the Twitch side, there are only a few people who do get 100 viewers. So anyway, with that aside, the intention is what matters, and with enough feedback, I pretty much hope this program is going to be turning up into something useful. For you guys, this isn't really anything relevant, so let's move on into the actual patch notes. Also, by the way, I already sent an application for that content creator thing, and I'm actually looking forward to see what the whole program is about. So yeah, patch notes. First we begin with the system tab, because there are basically no events for this week. The first change that we see is in the guild bonus distribution conditions, which basically now have been changed to if you have a guild with at least 30 members, you can pretty much distribute the guild bonus payment even if you have or don't have a node or a territory. I actually wasn't aware that this wasn't a feature in the past, so I suppose the only ones affected by this are the PvE and the life skill guilds who don't ever do node wars. So moving on from that, the second change in the guilds is I guess the increase in the tax that they are going to pay. I myself am not familiar with the guild welfare reservation tax, but basically now it was increased depending on how much money your guild actually has. For those who are officers and guild leaders, they already know what this is all about, and for the rest of us, it's something that we don't have to pay attention to. The last system change is that now you are going to get 20% more silver from the combat fame points. So basically, if you have a lot of characters leveled up, you're going to get more money every day. Moving on, we get into content changes, and the first one is the introduction of yet another guild boss named Ancient Puturum, or I suppose that's how you pronounce it. Basically, this one is going to spawn in Valencia, and other than that, it's just another guild boss. I wonder how many of you are actually going to walk around into the city with the naked title, but yeah, anyway, moving on, the next change is into the pre-order system, or at least somewhat. So now if you have a pre-order on an item, or actually if you sell an item and someone else has the pre-order on that item, you're going to get 20% more money from the difference that was paid between the registration price and the price that was actually paid by the one who bought it. So basically, if you sell an item and the other person is buying it for a lot of money, you're going to get 20% more money from the difference that was between those prices. Also, the difference that cannot get bigger than twice the registration price, so basically if you register something for 1 billion, you're going to get at most 2 billions. And even though this seems like a lot, I'm not sure who is ever going to pay 6 billions for that specific item for you to get 2 billions. Anyway, it is an increase, and this is going to make selling items for pre-orders a lot more profitable. And moving on, we see the second change into the marketplace, which is that basically now if you register something that is blue grade or higher and enhanced to pen, so for most of us this is not going to apply, basically that item is going to go straight into the pre-orders, and if no one has any pre-order, that's when it's going to go into the bidding process. I guess this is going to drive the pre-orders for pen items very high, because if it is 100% chance to get that specific item, those very rich people in the game are going to pay a lot of money to get these pen items, which may be boss gear or accessories or anything else that is enhanced to pen. Anyway, basically now if you want to snipe one of these pen items, you better save a lot of money, and now let's move on. From events, there isn't really much to say. Basically they introduced the Valentine's Day theme and also changed the attendance rewards. And other than that, basically we are going to continue the previous week's events and wait for the next week when we are most likely going to get something for Valentine's Day. So moving on, we get into game, world, NPC and effects changes. Actually, never mind, it seems like it's all irrelevant, so let's just jump into the class changes, where hopefully something is going to be relevant. I don't really see anything relevant here either. Basically there are a lot of fixes, and especially for witches and wizards there are a lot of fixes. If you have time or if you are interested, better check them out, and if not, I would say it's a lot of fixes, so we can move on into item changes. From here, the only thing relevant is that they decreased the cooldown for some of the elixirs to 10 seconds. It does say that this doesn't include the Perfume of Courage, the Well Tender elixirs, and I suppose all of the relevant ones, and only changed to 10 seconds the cooldown for those who were already 1 minute or 5 minutes. It doesn't exactly specify what elixirs were changed, so you will have to check this one out in the game yourself. But since this is cacao, I pretty much expect the change to be irrelevant, and as I said, only change the 1 minute and maybe 5 minute elixirs back to 10 seconds or down to 10 seconds. So moving on from monster changes, again nothing really seems relevant, and moving on, the last tab is the quests and knowledge changes. In terms of quest changes, it seems like they added some, I'm not even going to pronounce it, silver bars to actually buff the money that you can get from some of the main quests in the game. So it says cooking, alchemy and so on, so I'm going to suppose that these are only the main life skill quests, and these are going to include some silver bars that can be exchanged for about 20,000 silver. So it's not exactly a lot of money, but it is a small buff. And also it says that it's going to include combat experience and skill experience. So again, I pretty much expect this to be very small values, but it is a small buff to the relevant quests. In terms of knowledge changes, these are, at least to me, a little bit confusing, because from what I understand, basically now if you do those daily and weekly quests once, you're going to get immediately the knowledge for the bosses, and if you complete these quests once, you can immediately start to pick them up every day instead of having to first get the knowledge from the monsters like you used to in the past, or something like that. Basically, from what I understand, in the past you used to have to kill some monsters to actually get the daily and weekly scrolls if you didn't have the knowledge for that specific boss already. And now you actually get the knowledge for these bosses after you complete the daily or weekly quest once, and then after this the following day is going to give you automatically these daily and weekly quests without having to kill any monsters. Anyway, again here we see some combat and skill experience and silver bars added to these quests, and with that being said, the last tab I suppose would be interface changes, which to me it seems like it's all irrelevant, so that should be it for the patch notes. I mean, it's not all irrelevant, but it just doesn't seem worth mentioning. If you want, you can go to the patch notes yourself and read everything, but I'm going to say that the main things that happened this week is that we got another guild boss, we got some increases, or basically they changed the pre-orders so that now you get 20% extra money from the difference in the pre-order value and the registration value, and also the changes in the guild funds where basically you're going to pay more taxes. Other than that, we have the two announcements for the content creator program and the costume contest, and besides that, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I hope I didn't sound too, I suppose, sleepy, dead, whatever, and I will see you guys in the next video, which, spoilers, I pretty much started testing Pilaku jail for money and I made about half of it, basically 5 hours so far, and within a few days it should come out. So yeah, see ya later, or see ya in the next video.